Happy Saturday. You're listening to Out Cincinnati on 91.7 FM HD2 WVXU in Cincinnati. Happy Pride Month again.
Happy Pride Month, everyone.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Chris.
It is the second Saturday in Pride, and boy, has there been a lot happening as far as...
There's been so much going on.
And my story with the weeping salad in the back seat and the Target Pride section.
The Target Pride section. Yes, that's right. We previously discussed how Target has a Pride section in one of their Cincinnati area stores.
That's what I was kind of led to believe. It's a Saturday afternoon. I call, well, this was a week or two ago. I call up and I say, so where's the Pride section, or do you have the Pride section? And they said, oh, we don't have it at this store. So I called another one and they said, oh, just at one store.
Just at one.
And I said, okay. So I'm thinking, why not every store? It's at the beginning of Target. There's that section where it's like just a themed section. It'd be easy to
Right.
have.
So if you find it at the one Target in town, do you know which one that is?
Well, what happened is I called the Target folks just because I was bored, and I called them and I said, so I need to know where the Pride section is, and you just can go online, and they said you could find it there. Or what you should do is call your local Target and ask if they have the Pride section for you. Stop in for that whatever you're looking for.
Yeah, because they're not at every store, although we would like to encourage Target to be even more inclusive than they are already and expand that maybe to more stores, because you never know when you need a rainbow bowl for your...
A rainbow... Yeah, that's what I said.
I can't say it. Rainbow bowl.
Rainbow bowl for your weeping salad in the back seat. Because my stupid thing was, remember, it's like the aunt that wants to show support to the nephew and runs into Target on a Saturday, and there's no Pride section.
There's no Pride section.
So I guess the takeaway is call ahead.
That's right. Call ahead, or I guess you can go to other places that may have Pride merchandise.
Well, as long it's just like
OutCincinnati.com, where you can get
at OutCincinnati.com, just like there's plenty of color. If you're missing anything that needs color, there's plenty of merch. Right.
We have cups. We have T-shirts.
Pillows.
We have pillows.
Shirts.
So if you need things for Pride, why not show your pride that way?
How happy would it make Melissa and Chris to see an Out Cincinnati shirt or two at Cincinnati Pride?
I would love to see
on
that.
June 22nd. I have to tell you, with Target, I'm going to check out the Pride section. It's going to be awesome.
Here's an idea.
What?
I would like our listeners, if you do get some Out Cincinnati T-shirts or whatever you have, or even just your general Pride wear, send us a picture. And,
absolutely. At Out Cincinnati, put us all over Instagram, Facebook, whatever you're using.
Yeah, and we can mention you on our show.
Especially if it's a duck lip selfie in the mirror. Is that like 2009?
Yeah, but those are always my favorite.
Those are yes. Coming up on Out Cincinnati, we're going to talk to the founding member of the Cincinnati chapter of PFLAG.
Yes,
which is amazing. She's waiting outside, and she's melting, and so am I. So
because it's so hot in the studio here.
We'll talk to Colette from PFLAG as well. And then the Cincinnati Fringe Fest.
Oh, the Cincinnati Fringe Fest
is going on, and we'll talk to Chris Wesselman and a couple of artists that you can catch this week in the final week of the Fringe Fest. This is Out Cincinnati on 91.7 WVXU Radio Artifact.
Hi, this is Michael Chanak, otherwise known as the Goose, and when it comes to brunch and my hunt for a free buffet, you know I'm listening to Out Cincinnati.
You're listening to Out Cincinnati on Radio Artifact 91.7 at WVXU in Cincinnati. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Chris.
You ready to stay a little weird?
I am ready to get freaky.
Freaky. Hi, Chris.
Hi, guys. How are you
doing?
I'm great.
That's Chris Wesselman. That's Neil Arthur James.
Hi.
Hello. That's Julie. Help me.
Gieseke.
Yes. I had so much fun. Sorry, I'm just so happy to talk to all three of you. But let me tell everybody who they are.
Yes, please.
Chris is the producer of the Cincinnati Fringe Festival.
That's correct.
And we are in the middle of it. It's the 8th, and like it's been a week already.
About a week and a half now, yeah.
A week and a half.
Yeah.
And we've got a whole another week of great... What is the Fringe Festival?
So the Fringe Festival is 14 days of theater, art, music, dance, and everything between. And like you guys kind of insinuated, we take great pride in it being kind of weird.
I love it.
It's great. But it's not all weird. A lot of it tends to feel a little bit more mainstream than some people feel. Tends to be a little bit more mainstream than some people might realize.
So if I said I'm sitting at home in Groesbeck and I say, oh, I'm gonna get offended. I can't go to that. That's gonna be so gross.
Then
Stay home.
Stay home. I love it.
Stay home.
Fringe Festival.
I mean, you said it wasn't all weird. And so
No, you
I
can.
want,
You
I want
can.
examples.
I do feel like you can flip the page in the guide and then find something that's not necessarily
Absolutely.
as you know it because that's the beauty of Fringe is that not only is it a great place for people who love theater and love the arts to find things that are maybe outside their comfort zone.
And challenge and surprise
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
More than anything.
So Neil,
yeah.
so that's what I want to ask Neil. Like, I've seen the YouTube videos. I've done a
Yeah,
little
so I
research,
perform as Dandy Darkly.
Thank you.
I'm a storyteller, as is Julie. Julie's an incredible storyteller here.
I'm gonna get to her next. Oh my god.
I tell avant-garde, evocative, dirty, funny ghost stories,
And when
queer
can,
ghost
and when can
stories.
people come out and see that? All of that.
I got 2 more shows. One tonight, actually one tonight at 7:45 p.m. Tuesday the 11th at 7, and Thursday the 13th at 8:30.
So Tuesday and Thursday of this week.
I'm just thrilled to be here on the radio in Cincinnati. I'm living my Lonnie Anderson fantasy here.
I mean,
Maybe I'm living Julie's Lonnie Anderson fantasy. I hope so.
well, Cincinnati's happy to
right.
give that to you. I mean, if you walk away with anything but heartburn from the chili, at least it's that memory. So Julie, what do you do? I heard storyteller.
Yeah, I'm a storyteller, a solo performer. I am a human being that seems compelled to reveal some of the most personal things on stage as a form of entertainment.
An example?
Mostly stories of my failed love life, which are funny and painful. For me.
What's the tour or skit that you're doing this time?
The name of the current show is Borderline A-Hole.
Okay.
And I have 3 more shows. So one tonight, or actually this afternoon at 4, tomorrow Sunday at 7:45, and Tuesday at 6:30.
So that's like 3 opportunities to see in the next week.
That sounds amazing.
Really cool. So it sounds to me, Chris, like there's as many artists, as many performers as there are venues, as there are opportunities to do stuff. Just with Julie and Neil, like 2 and 3 opportunities each.
Yeah, this is just a drop in the bucket. I mean, this is just half of their performances, and then those total number of performances are just like a third of the 3% of the performances in the entire festival. It really is amazing how much we're able to get going in just 2 weeks. I think this year is 236, I think, was the grand total number of performances.
So how do you count? That's amazing. How do
yeah.
you counter? Like, how do you? I know sounds silly. How do you qualify a performance? I mean, that's a lot. That sounds really negative. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
How do you
have so many?
No, when you look at the Fringe world, though, there's so many things that can be interpreted
Absolutely.
as a performance.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be like the silent performance of the bartender.
Sure, no,
standing there
yeah,
doing his
absolutely.
bit.
Well-
By that count, the 236 is the number of ticketed performances, the number of performances that you have to buy tickets to
That's still amazing.
to
I mean, that's
enter.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, but on top of that, we have visual art experiences, galleries. We have free nightly bar series events down at Fringe headquarters, which is no theater.
Oh, the bar events are incredible. They're really a lot of fun.
And no theater. So it's like specialty cocktails and everything.
We have specialty cocktails.
Oh,
We have
that's
special themes and events. Tonight actually is our Fringe prom. It's Sweet 16. So we'll have a live band playing. I believe they're going to be covering some of the greatest dance hits from the 80s, 90s, and 1000s.
Sounds like a radio station.
Yeah.
Julie's going to win prom king, and I'm going to win prom queen.
Just send me some 8x10s. That's all I need. I want to ask, since it's keeping it a little weird, and I hope I can throw the word weird around.
Absolutely.
I want to ask a weird question. As we're talking on Out Cincinnati with Chris and Neil and Julie, all from the Fringe Festival, going on right now. And what's the website before I get to my stupid
www.cincyfringe.com. That's Cincy, C-I-N-C-Y, fringe.com.
Fringe, and Fringe is F-R-I. Yeah, you know how to spell French. So I want to know, how would you describe the color blue to somebody who is blind? And we'll be back on Out Cincinnati.
Hi, everybody. It's Jessica Diamond, the it girl of Cincinnati. It's Gay Pride, and you're listening to Out Cincinnati.
You're listening to Out Cincinnati. Hello, Melissa.
Hey, we're back.
Hello, Chris Wesselman.
Hello.
Hello, Dandy Darkly.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hello.
Sorry you had to suffer with my Uber driver Neil. What a know-it-all.
No tips.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He gives me a 2-star every time. But now I'm here, America, Dandy Darkly.
And a-hole.
That would be me, also known as Julie.
Thank you. I was told to say a-hole. Okay. The question is,
It's like Captain and Tennille, but Dandy and the A-hole.
it could have been
I like
Melissa
it.
because of my question. I asked everybody, how would you describe the color blue to somebody who was blind? And I said during the break, you can't tell me to just go away or try
Or
to
give a good answer.
give a good answer.
Well, I'm going to actually answer that question because I actually get paid to describe both theater and artwork to the visually impaired.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm a professional audio describer.
Okay, I hope my question was on the up and up.
It is.
Look what you tapped
It is.
into.
Yeah.
Well, and I would just say that, interestingly enough, during my training 20 years ago, it was suggested to not avoid making visual references to describe color. But I tend, if I think of blue, I would also just think of temperatures or textures or things that I personally associate. But it's very subjective. So
Yeah.
I would say for me, blue is like submerging into a cool pool of water.
Ooh,
Thank you, a-hole.
that was very professional.
No, that I can see. I see blue now, and I think I need to uncross my
Beautiful.
legs. Okay. All right. Did you have a?
Well, I describe smells to people that were born without noses for a living, actually. So I
Okay,
have,
Dandy.
Julie, I have a bit of expertise in this field as well. Let's see.
Describe the color blue, Dan.
You know,
I'm blind.
I was going to say water as well. Now I got to rethink. No, I would say, I'm an air sign, a Libra. I would think of it as much in the same way, textual, like standing on a windy cliff and feeling the air, flying across your face. Yeah.
That is beautiful.
That's cool.
Although
that.
I wouldn't want someone with visual impairment on the edge of a cliff, I would be like,
No.
get back, girl, get back.
only if they understood blue as you described it.
Yeah,
Then they're
exactly.
good. What would you say, Chris?
Well, these two had kind of almost poetic answers, and I feel like my brain kind of went immediately like scientific to like, as light breaks through a prism,
Okay.
blue is the third one from the right.
Color. Okay, and a scientific.
But that's also kind of a
the
smart
humanity of it,
answer.
the
Yeah.
Humanity.
What does blue stand for in the LGBTQ?
It stands for serenity,
There
actually.
we go. Serenity.
Yeah.
Very good.
I just saw a show that broke down the. God, I need to. It'll come back to me.
The colors are interesting of the flag to like look at what they all stand for because they all have a different.
It was Sparkle.
Oh, it was Sparkle. Ah, you should-
Sparkle's story time happy
she read
hour.
the-
From the
she
Fringe
read the-
Festival?
Yes,
Okay.
from the
She read the
Fringe
Harvey Milk
Festival.
book,
She read
yeah.
the Harvey Milk
Yeah.
book and went
Harvey
through
Milk book.
each of the colors of the, and it was Serenity.
And that's part
Hi,
of the Cincy
Sparkle.
Fringe. Yes, Sparkle. That we wanted to do shout outs. When can we see Sparkle this week?
I think we just missed Sparkle's final book reading at 11.
Okay.
But you can follow Sparkle Lee on Instagram, Facebook. She does story readings all the time across
awesome.
Cincinnati. So she's absolutely fantastic.
There's probably like a YouTube or a clip or two out there as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what's great about. Not that it shouldn't get you out to see the festival, but you can Google folks before you go and say, like, this person, they all look really amazing. I'm going to go see them.
So I would like to know, where does Dandy and A-hole
Or better known as Julie Gieseke.
perform when they're not at the Fringe Festival? Where can we find you after the Fringe Festival?
Well, I live in San Francisco, so I certainly perform there a lot, but the next Fringe is going to be the Vancouver, British Columbia Fringe for me, and then I will be in the United Solo Performance Festival in New York on October 3rd.
Great.
And I'm off to the Hollywood Fringe next in Los Angeles. I'm based out of Brooklyn, but I think my hubby and my kitty cats, I think we're moving. No, I can't say anything like that. We might be moving. I don't know. I can't. Enough.
You mean leave Brooklyn?
You're just on the move, period.
You know, I'm a gal on the go.
I just got a text from Barbara. She's pissed. You do not leave Brooklyn. No.
My commuter sneakers, my yogurt.
So that is the Cincinnati Fringe Festival going on until
June 15th.
And more info at
cincyfringe.com.
Thank you so much, Dandy.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, A-hole.
Or better known as Julie Gieseke.
Thank you.
We'll follow you around.
Please follow my a-hole, yes.
I would rather than a waffle. On that note, this is Out Cincinnati. You can check out the Cincinnati Fringe Festival information. We'll post all the links Out Cincinnati on social media. You're listening to Radio Artifact.
Hey everybody, this is Lexi Love, the girl you all love to love, and you're listening to Out Cincinnati.
You're listening to Out Cincinnati on 91.7 WVXU HD2. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Chris.
So nice to have you on a Saturday with Out Cincinnati. This is Radio Artifact, and you can check it out anytime at radioartifact.com. So happy to be with Colette Lindemann and Marion Weage. Thank you so much.
The legendary
Marion Weage. I'm sorry. I would get to get in front of the mic. I was so focused on saying the name. Hello, Marion.
Hi.
It's nice to have you. We had a little talk about the last name. I had it wrong. So they are from PFLAG, Cincinnati. Colette, you are the, I didn't ask before, president yep. Of PFLAG. So what is PFLAG for folks who are just hearing that? It is an acronym. It stands for, or
well,
it is...
Actually, it used to be an acronym.
I thought it was Parents for...
Yeah, so people who have heard of it probably know it as Parents, Friends, and Family of Lesbians and Gays. However, just in the last, I think maybe it's been 4 or 5 years, they've actually dropped the words that the acronym used to stand for. It's just PFLAG now.
That's probably why my ignorance was shown.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, what could it stand for? And I didn't even know.
They dropped the words because it wasn't trans inclusive.
Okay.
So it is just, it's strictly PFLAG. However, explaining to people what it is, it's basically what it is. It's a family and ally organization for the LGBTQ community.
So what does that mean? If I go to a meeting, why would I go to a meeting, and what do you do? And Marion or Colette, I mean, you both. Marion is.
Now, why is Marion legendary?
That's what.
Let's tell everyone.
I'm basking.
If they don't already know,
we turned the lights off in the studio because there's just so much. Marion is the founder of the Cincinnati chapter of PFLAG. So, what does PFLAG do? And then,
actually, people come to our meetings. They want to talk. Many are parents who have just found out, and they need some support. They know there's someone else there in the same shoes.
Parents who might have a son or daughter who identifies as
But many gay people come also, and questioning and trans and so on. And sometimes we're their family because their parents are not accepting. Mm-hmm. So they come, they have the support that they would like to get from home, which is unfortunate. If I can't imagine kicking my kid out for any reason.
What is? And I was at a PFLAG meeting recently, and I overheard you talking about was it your son? What was the beginning of your involvement with PFLAG?
Actually, I was at the time a single mom. I was divorced from their dad, and my husband had died. My second husband had died, and my son had graduated from high school, and he was 18 years old. It was 1978. And he said to me, Mom, I just want you to know I'm gay. And I said, oh, okay. And I love you and all this kind of stuff. And then after it was over, I kind of fell to pieces. And I thought, my first thought was, somebody's going to kill my son. And my second thought was, this is my fault. Because
your reaction.
I had divorced his dad.
Right.
I took him away from his father. If I had not done that, he wouldn't be gay, because I knew nothing about it.
Isn't it strange? It's kind of like when somebody passes, we're thinking, oh boy, if I had gone on more walks with that person, they would have been in better shape. Or if I had done this, or if maybe, because I lost my father, when I was 23 or so. And, didn't make me gay. I knew that when I was 12, but I understand. So what was your
mothers have a lot of guilt anyway, it's the old guilt thing.
That's right.
What
were your next steps after the right thing, obviously, is to hug your son, like, I love you.
Oh, of course I did.
Right.
I said, I love you, and, don't worry, everything will be fine. And he went off to college, and I was living in Michigan at the time, in a small town. You don't tell things in those towns because everybody knows everything. And I went 2 or 3 towns, and there was a mental health clinic there. And I went to talk to someone who didn't really know me, And thank God, the guy he says, he's born that way. You had nothing to do with it. He's fine. And I thought, wow, at 78, in 78 to have someone say that, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you walked into, it was fate, or, right, you walked in there and heard that important.
Well, he wouldn't have dared tell me he's a bad guy, because he was, and I love my son to pieces, that's not part of it. But luckily, then I felt like, good.
Who was it that told you?
He was a mental health.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. I couldn't tell you his name anymore.
Right. No, he told. What I'm saying is, you walked into the right person to tell you the right thing, that it was not your fault.
Right.
If that's what you were going through at that time.
And then he went off to college, and I moved around different places and did a lot of things. I worked in the travel business, saw a lot of the world because I was single. And when I moved back to Cincinnati, which is my hometown, I was born and raised here, Walnut Hills High School graduate. And
let's go. What's the word?
Mascot?
Mascot. Excuse my
Eagle.
sport. So go Eagles.
Yeah,
yes,
go Eagles.
Go Eagles. Okay.
Wouldn't you know it, we'd have an eagle? Oh well.
so back to Cincinnati, and how did PFLAG come about?
Well, in my places, the different places that I moved in Michigan, I had met a couple mothers who started a PFLAG chapter, and I met with them, and they were the only one. We were the only 3 there, so it didn't go very far there. But anyway, I got back to Cincinnati, and I actually called up the gay and lesbian hotline.
Okay.
And I said,
does it still exist?
I think it does. I don't know.
We'll have to look that up and post it on outcincinnati.com.
Yeah, in case.
That would be interesting to know if something or the equivalent.
Right.
So you started. How did it grow from 3 to?
Well, the ones in Michigan, I don't know what happened to them because I never kept in touch. But when I got back here, I called up the hotline and I said, "Is there a PFLAG chapter in Cincinnati?" And they said no. And I said, well, maybe we better start one. And on the other end of the line, I heard hooray.
So you got
So
things.
we started meeting, and, I couldn't even tell you who it was anymore. But actually, I went to the newspapers. My picture was in the paper. I'm sure I have that picture somewhere. And I was on radio. And
all of a sudden you were out there and your face was...
Yes, and all of a sudden I got death threats.
Oh
I had people call up and tell me they were going to kill me.
Because you were starting a group and the mother of a gay son?
Yeah.
It just doesn't...
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it. It just doesn't sound believable.
And since then, I had 2 younger daughters come out to me. And my oldest daughter is married and has kids, and 2 of hers are gay.
Wow.
So it runs in the family somewhere.
So you needed the support group, though, is what you found, that there were other people in need like you that didn't have the community support, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you start expanding that into a wider
Well,
group?
we had to find a meeting place. We moved quite a few places.
Where was the first spot?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Someplace cool.
I don't even remember
No.
if it was a church or just a hall or somewhere.
It could be anywhere. You know what they say? What is it in the Church of Christ, or any church? It's the building, it's the building that carry. Not the building. It's the people. Sorry, I got it wrong.
Yeah,
it's not. It's the people, and you can worship anywhere, kind of thing. But if it comes to you,
So did you have like a huge response when you started it, or did it just sort of trickle?
We started with a few, trickled and trickled in, and then got bigger. And At one point we'd have 40 or 50 people at a meeting.
Oh, wow. So how are you
And
now?
Just never know.
What kind of?
Yeah.
It ebbs and flows, doesn't it?
So that was, you said the Cincinnati chapter of PFLAG is turning 35, or is?
Yeah.
I think this year it's turning 35.
So 35 years after the creation, how is PFLAG serving the community now? Is it different, or is the approach the same? It's a big question, I guess.
Well, the basic idea is the same, right? We're there as a support mechanism for the families primarily, and also LGBTQ people still come there for support directly. I think one of the ways that it's changed, certainly in the last few years, is that we get a lot more parents of transgender children who are coming to figure out how to do right by their kids. I mean, that's their primary concern. And also, there's all, as there is with parents of lesbian and gay children, there's a coming out process for the parents themselves as well, how to come out to extended family, coworkers, things like that. So, yeah, I think we're getting a lot more transgender issues coming through the door.
Now, are people more concerned about civil rights issues or other external issues, or are they concerned about finding out information, or how does that break down?
I think it depends on where they are in the process, right? When it's new, when we get parents who come in and say, 2 weeks ago my kid told me that they're transgender, they really are very laser focused on how do I make this okay for my kid?
Or even understanding or how they can help.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think when you get people a little bit farther along the process, then they are able to sort of spare some brain computing cycles to other things, the wider world, and how do I make the world safer for my kids. So
what do you ever have parents or anybody who comes to a meeting and this happens, so I'm going to ask, or you can tell me if it doesn't, my kid can't be trans, my kid can't be gay, my kid can't, just from, do you ever have to calm people down and say, well, they are, or point them in the right direction?
I don't think we see that as much now. I think by the time they come here, they're in a place where they know that they need to do something to support their child.
Okay,
I would imagine, and Marion can speak to this, that maybe earlier you might have gotten more of that.
Yes, we did. Yeah. But now it's actually being gay is no big deal these days.
Right.
Thank goodness.
That at least has evolved. I mean,
least, well, with some people, it'll always be
a thing.
Yeah, a thing. They just
certain ideas are. Someone was telling me this morning. Certain ideas are just beat into you. I mean, just so much that there's a little bit of a thing in the back that you never change people's minds completely, or will you?
Yeah. Well, and they hide behind religion. The Bible says, and this is not. And I mean, I'm a preacher's kid. So, and I go to church regularly. I'm a church organist, choir director, and secretary. I'm the secretary and the choir director and the organist at church. And I go regularly. And my minister, the church I go to is very accepting.
Well, and Michael Chanik, when we had him on at our prior show, he was saying that was his experience as well, that there are churches in the community that are more open
and people
to having
meets at a church.
Mm-hmm.
And so what if I don't have a great relationship with religion, and here I am, this is a hypothetical, I don't want to go into some church and do Colette's. I will say you're raising your hand, and there's an ivory box in the corner. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to go to church. I touch the holy water and it steams. So that's not because I just scratched an Alka-Seltzer tablet, which is a good prank if anyone wants to. Okay.
So for the record, I'm an atheist, and I have no trouble with going to these meetings at churches because, well, I think it's an absolutely positive development whenever a church decides that, not only are we supportive of LGBTQ people, but we're actually going to open our doors and give you a space to offer support. But also these meetings, they're not worship services, right? They're strictly about support. And
that's what it was when I was there. It was anybody could talk, raise their hand, anything.
Right. We've had Christians there. We've had we've even had Muslims there. I can't obviously talk about specifics because everything's confidential, but and obviously atheists. So it's very open. There's no sort of religious expectations. The subject does come up, obviously, because people have issues around religion and LGBTQ issues, and we do talk about it in that context, but it's there's never an expectation that you should or shouldn't have any particular kind of relationship to religion.
And Marion, were the churches as open was it even in the 70s or 80s? Were they open to have you all there to meet?
Yeah, there were churches that were very accepting always, and of course the church I go to is because I would never go to a church that would be preaching that my kids were bad. My minister and his wife are very accepting.
As Melissa was saying, we talked to Michael Chanek, and that was one of his first, entrances into the Cincinnati community was the embrace of the church, and it's such a reassuring, great thing to hear. That there are people who look past and love past whatever problems people might have or whatever. They love the person for real.
I mean, if it's a real Christian church, if they live up to what Christianity says it is, then you have to be that way.
I always
if you're a Christian, it's what it is.
Jesus didn't hang out with perfect people.
No.
I wanted to ask about Pride Month. What is going on with PFLAG? How are you involved with Pride Month? I read something about scholarships, and I know that's a big deal with PFLAG.
We do love our scholarship winners. Yeah. One of the big things that PFLAG does, in addition to the support work that we do, is that every year we give scholarships to you either have to be from the Cincinnati area going to school anywhere, or from anywhere else going to school in the Cincinnati area. So
high school or university?
You have to be on your way to college or in college. So it's a university scholarship.
Okay, I answered my own question as I asked it. Okay.
So seniors in high school, and and we always give those scholarships away in June. At our regular monthly meeting, which, by the way, is always the evening of the second Tuesday of the month.
So that would be June.
So June 11th coming up is when we have our scholarship banquet, and it's a potluck, and people are welcome to come join us at Mount Auburn Presbyterian.
And that's June 11th at what time?
6:30 p.m.
6:30. And is there a special dish you all do?
Well,
I might know the answer to this before I'm asking. I hope you confirm it for me.
So we always provide a main. We provide fried chicken and beverages. Mm-hmm. And then we just ask people to bring sides.
I need a Kleenex. Okay, I need a napkin because my mouth's already watering.
If the audience could just see his face right now.
I know.
It's beet red. I have a beet red salad face. Okay. So fried chicken. It's potluck. So folks who come to Mount Auburn Presbyterian June 11th, 6:30 can bring a dish?
Yes, they can. Although I would say that, if you are unable to bring a dish but you want to help us celebrate, please come anyway. You're always welcome.
Yeah, when I was there, when I attended a meeting before, I think I filled both my purses with granola. No, I'm kidding. There's plenty of food, so please come out. I plan on being there. So so all the scholarships are spoken for. Is there still time to apply? Or
no? The application process always happens in the spring, and the scholarship committee, I believe, they just met this past week to make the final decisions.
Okay, so
for next year. So those fall seniors can think about that for next year.
We stopped school in June when I was going to school. I don't know about you, Marion, or you, Colette. We stopped in June, so for me, school's still in session, that kind of thing. But I know
they end it earlier.
A lot of people are done by now. So for next year, or for folks who want to get out to the potluck, more information at outcincinnati.com. What is PFLAG's website for more info? How can people find out more?
It is pflagcincy.org. It's Cincy with an I.
Cincy with an I. And then on Facebook, that search bar at the top, which I'm falling in love with, you can just type in PFLAG Cincinnati and find all the events section of those pages is great. Everything's right there. So that is wonderful. So June 11th, 6:30, Mount Auburn Presbyterian, and that's your regular meeting time. It's the second Tuesday of each month.
Yes, although normally we meet at 7.
Okay.
We're just starting at 6:30 this time since there's dinner involved.
There's food.
There is food. So we'll see you there. Thank you so much, Colette, and Marion. I wanted to ask you, what was we talked about this before we went on the air. What was your grandma? Tell me the story as we were talking.
What,
we were
my maiden name?
I wanted to ask you we were talking about your name pronunciation, and
Yeah.
you said that you had a maiden name in your family that was.
Yes. I was born Marion Sinning, Sinning, and my dad was a minister.
So
they would come to our church and say, "Come to our church and see what sinning can do for you."
What was it? Would it be pastor, preacher, sinning? How do it?
Reverend.
Reverend Sinning.
Yes.
I have something to tell you.
Well, apparently Marion got some good sinning genes there.
Yes. Okay.
I had two older brothers. It's really, when you have brothers that are 10 and almost 15 when you were born, you learned to have a great sense of humor and to take a lot of guff growing up.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much, Colette.
You
and
roll with the
Marion.
punches.
You're listening to Out Cincinnati on 91.7 FM, HD2 WVXU, and anytime at outcincinnati.com. You can get cool Out Cincinnati swag, and there's a better word than cool, right there at outcincinnati.com. My name is Chris, and you are listening to Out Cincinnati. That is Melissa.
Hi, Chris.
Hello again. Happy Saturday on Radio Artifact 91.7 FM HD2 WVXU in Cincinnati. Anytime at outcincinnati.com. We are talking to Colette and Marion from PFLAG Cincinnati. And the question I was wondering about is, I had a little confusion earlier. I thought PFLAG was an acronym.
It used to be an acronym. It no longer is, because the acronym Parents, Family, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays was not transgender inclusive. So the national organization dropped the acronym, and we're just PFLAG now.
What was there, pressure?
I think it was a combination probably of pressure from the ground level, and as well just changing culture and realizing that, we need to, we can't just be lip service. We can't just talk about the T being a part of LGBTQ without actually doing something about it.
Have people told you, well, the T shouldn't be part of it, and what are you going to do for us? Any group can say that. So what do you, we know, and we've talked about already, what you do for the greater community, for the LGBT plus community. Trans has been around, and forgive me my phrasing, so have gay people forever. And it's just become as far as trans rights, it's kind of a thing people are talking about. So what are you doing for the greater trans community, and are they, I want to say happy, is the trans community being served by PFLAG?
They still have parents who come to our meetings and talk about it. And learn.
In the sense that we are there as a support structure for families, and it's always going to be better if your family is supportive. We serve obviously in that way. I think that, as allies, we do have to be sensitive to the fact that our understanding of the issue is secondary.
Right.
We are not ourselves transgender, although, to be clear, there are transgender people who are parents also who need that kind of support. But yes, we're allies, and it is important to, I don't want to say know your place because that sounds kind of negative, but to understand that, you can speak about what you know about, but you have to be clear that people need to defer to trans people's own stories, if that makes sense.
So you can be an advocate without, taking the place of someone's narrative and story as a transgender person, right?
Right, absolutely. And, to the extent that parents who are dealing with this issue are scared, are confused, we're the people that they come to. So they're not necessarily going to know to go to Heartland Trans Wellness to ask those questions that they need answered. So, we're kind of the front lines, and, we can certainly, once they have come and, unburdened themselves with us, we can direct them, hey, maybe check out Heartland Trans Wellness, check out the Cincinnati Children's trans programs, GLSEN, those kind of organizations, and then we can direct them to people who can speak more directly to those issues.
So it sounds like, and Marion, of course, this has probably been your experience too. PFLAG has been it's like a nice first step, because you need to keep coming to meetings.
Yeah.
But it's a good, I love and accept my kid, or I just want to know where I can be steered next.
Right. And how I can best support my child.
And you've got the resources, or
Yes.
the phone numbers,
Yeah.
or the connections to.
And there's safety, and there's always comfort in numbers.
Absolutely.
And you think you're the only person who has a gay kid or a trans kid.
Oh, no.
And it's, well, I know, but you get that
right,
feeling.
Right, and you're not
Well,
alone.
because even that's been so closeted, as they say,
Right,
even because of the situation like you were describing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we come out and march in a parade now, so.
That is great. It is. The Cincinnati Pride Parade is. It is so much fun. Any parade is fun, and that.
Our first parade, you would not believe it. The gal who was the second president, I was president for the first, I think, 6 years, and then she took over. And we did have Bible thumpers on Fountain Square.
Right.
And then we walked our little trail that we had set up, and we ended up at the dock.
Right. The bar down there.
Yes.
Okay.
And the second president and I walked together, and there was hardly anybody on the street, and they were like, what in the heck is this? And I said to her, I bet they wonder what we're doing. She said, they probably think we're a couple lesbians walking together. And I said, sorry, it was me. And she said, me too. But there was nobody there. Now it's, oh my gosh.
Something like 50,000.
The entire city comes out on
It's amazing. It's so wonderful to see.
I walked in it a couple of years ago with another group. It's really, whether you're walking in it or on the sides, it's a great. There's so much energy.
Yeah.
That's how I can
wonderful.
Describe it. And so many groups really go to the nines for that parade. I know the group we had signs falling off the car. We had more than we could carry. It was great. So you all be at marching.
Yeah, well, I'll have to be there, because I think I'm doing like a roving reporter type of thing. Is that right?
We are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah, we're working on the roving.
I'm working my way through the crowd.
Roving reporter on Pride out Cincinnati will be there with our polo shirts. We're working on the design for. No, but that's great. I love that you have a place, and has that been?
We'll stop by and see you.
Yeah.
And
yes, we'll have rainbow bracelets to hang out.
It's good to have some swag. That is.
And we'll be in Kentucky
Yes.
too when they have their Pride. We'll be there.
Yeah,
too.
Covington Pride.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's
in Covington.
We were
on Greenup. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were, well, thank you so much. We've been talking to Colette and Marion from PFLAG Cincinnati on Out Cincinnati, right here on Radio Artifact.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for hanging out today on Out Cincinnati.
You're welcome, Chris. It's been fun times as always.
Fun time, yes. And it was great to talk to the folks from PFLAG. It was Colette and Marion.
And and Chris and the performers from
the Fringe Festival.
The Fringe
that was
Festival.
A great thing. And it is Pride Month still. Coming up next Saturday, we're going to talk to Mackenzie from City Beat about their great Pride edition of City Beat periodical, which Melissa and I both adore.
Yes.
So that's going to happen on the 15th. And then some folks from Middletown.
And then also Preston from UC LGBTQ about Pride.
Yeah, so from the LGBT Center at UC and Middletown Pride people, because Middletown Pride is on the 21st, and lots to keep track of event-wise this month. Hey, we'll see you on Saturday, Melissa.
See you again on Saturday.
For another I love the look I got. We'll see you. This is Out Cincinnati at 91.7 WVXU HD2. It's Radio Artifact, and anytime at OutCincinnati.com.